The Butterfly, from Lost in Reflection. Spring. This morning, Sarah walked to the beach, following the steep and narrow track through the village. Sand blows alongside her, gathering between the cobbles. A white cottage of stone dotted with shells, the roof adorned with simple slate, flowers grow beneath the window. Drying in the sun is an old, rotting fishing boat. An old man is replacing the tiller, a newly fashioned pin shining with his pride, hopeful for the day. His wife opens the shutters into the morning. She is a vision of homely beauty, happy in life's simplicity. She watches as Sarah passes. Her eyes rest on her love. She smiles with sadness. The moon stands above it all, defying the day. It watches the girl, recognizing its own reflection. Out on the headland before her stands the lighthouse, rooted to the rock like the white spike of a tooth, its eye now dark after a forlorn night. Beyond the headland, the sea, mirroring the clean sky and the peacefulness of the day, the horizon lost, painted by the forgetful artist. Her dress flows with an elfin grace, ethereal and radiant in the light, like a wisp of mist in the breeze. She has wished to walk this path alone, her mother, vigilance, her father, a sanctuary of doubt. The day longing coming, the shackles at last withdrawn. The track narrows, houses overhang. A chill descends in the claws of shadow, looming, threatening and grim. Innocent, with her youthful naivety, carefree and impulsive, Sarah passes beyond the village, undaunted by childish nightmares. She crosses the stone bridge, the stream below a silent trickle in no rush to meet the sea, another reflection of Sarah. She follows the rabbit path through the marram, cool sand running between her toes, the soft hiss of the sea barely whispering in her ears. The soft sand, freed from the grip of the tide, lies drying in the sun, desolate and wide, inviting her soul to be free. She walks to the beach to dance, and before the sea she stands. Her eyes are closed and she breathes fresh salty air. Sarah throws herself to her purpose, twirling, laughing, joyous, a ballerina for Neptune's delight. Behold the new butterfly, skittering in the surf. Summer. White light scans the beach with intent, where innocence shines like a beacon. Chill darkness restored swiftly to hide endeavour. This quiet ordeal, cleverly devised, an earnest undertaking, secret and sinister. He is single-minded, irreverent and tense. A chance gifted, no time to wait, long considered and swiftly enacted, blind belief in self-righteousness. Yet one oversight and this will be over. Flee and abandon, wait, concealing torment, torment restrained, appraising to retry. A mind of steel sets itself creeping, crawling bat-like through the dark, ungainly, graceless and cold. With every step he tortures himself. A remote voice in his soul whispers, stop, his will does not hear. His anger bites at nature, dirty, clammy, despised, a hurricane of hate through his mind. The end is near, black within black, all senses working for perception. A noise, hidden by the sea. A dim movement, a fabrication of sound, his prey is here. He knows luck is with him. but it is turbulent. He feels the disquiet. She is frozen, fear grinding her mind, blinded by her despair. Her independence betrayed her. She is lost within herself. A shadow rests beside her. Almost silent, quietly it begins, a bubble of words rising. Unbidden comes the utterance. The words seem callous, yet she pulls them to herself. Reliance explodes into the void, reaching, gentle as a snake, a hand extended, taken in trust. Existence continues, the horror transcendent, rationality deficient of experience. Time creeps with little lucidity, skin crawls unconsciously, perception in the darkness unreal. She knows reality, life and truth, happiness and love. Nightmare within a nightmare, a terminal sentence of horror growing deeper and deeper. A sound, flee in terror, escape inside, the only way to run. Thought stops, become the closed shell. No experience to seed a memory. Emotion seeps through, consciousness unwelcome, unable to be silent. Dare to expand from despair. Dim shapes in the dark. A suggestion of light. Retreat, retreat, back into herself. It's safe here. He can't get here. Her innocent heaven, her safe haven. Blinding light and a silent scream, caught unaware she panics, wide open and no chance to hide. Mentally collapsing, naked and exposed, words she does not hear. Words that are wrong, against the tide, not perceived anymore. Not to care, this is the secret. Retreating to her vision of herself, never hearing the door close. Time creeps and she awakens to light, recoiling reflexively. Her heart sinks like lead. Scrabbling wildly for safety, clawing, bleeding and broken at the edges, into heaven, and once there she stays. Time passes and the edges begin to fade. Melting into the present, she drifts upwards without realizing. Suddenly she surfaces and the world is different. Night has changed to day. She resists nothing, she sees nothing, she feels nothing. She remains dead to the world. She lets all happen while she darts hysterically. Tears flowing, a constant scream in her mind, always retreating. Yet, a hazy sun begins to thaw the ice. She has a choice to make. She hears the concerned voices, but this is her choice. Will the choice make a difference? Sensation and emotion? No way to silence it. Let it flow around, let it pass. She needs to think. Experience is an ocean, and she stands before it. Now the world is quiet, and she is alone. She remembers the little girl. She feels her. The innocence never left. It focuses and reforms. Suppress the anger. This isn't her. Suppress the fear. This isn't her. This is who she loves, The little girl now fills her. She hasn't changed. And finally, she clutches the offered hand. Time passes once more, finding her in familiar surroundings, with the shackles of the day cast down. She can't concentrate. She can't sit still. Tears, thoughts, and emotion whirl. Everything drains away as her world fills. The recommencement of life, long coming and unlooked for. She expands into herself, still the girl who rescued herself, but older now. She controls herself, determined to control her life, succor unbound. Remembered kindness overflows around her, so she projects herself into the world. She doesn't mind feeling lost. Anybody else would hate this, the strangeness of a frightening city. She doesn't even notice the feeling. Sarah emerges, older and wiser, yet still young and innocent. She knows who she is. The city street is busy, a blur of noise and dullness, now familiar backdrop. The torment is still there, but it passes in an instant. Her visage of confidence returns. Relax and cast adrift. Her world as fast and wide as her experience. Experience stops the young girl trembling. Belief would have been a struggle. The young woman lets it pass by, fearful but in a determined shell of stone. This duality is her facade. She has both to survive, the harsh desert and the freedom of life. She knows a place to retreat, no longer within, a helping hand forever extended. Not trust. That will be too much. Perhaps a hope of faith? An image of herself fires imagination, loved voices from the last day, now gone. She avoids the thought, falling into her loneliness, her thankful unhappiness. Hated but no choice, though she knows her needs, she cannot disappoint. She asked to leave and to walk her own path. She needed freedom. She thought she did. She worked for it. She left for it. She has lost all that she needed. Thrown away along a self-dictated path, a path that only led away from herself. She has done it again. The confident socialite, the sophisticated woman, brutal, unapproachable, and dour. If she lets her true self show, the city would break her, and this time will be worse. Faces are masks, hiding masks. There are no people here. The silly monsters of night. The thought bleeds into another life. Old nightmares, the world darkens. She is pushed towards tears and breaks from her reverie. With a struggle she grips her thoughts, mentally closing her eyes and forcing her perfect day. Seconds later, consciousness arises, suddenly jumping to full awareness. She senses someone standing near. She permits the man to sit, closing herself to contact, retreat into a book. He was here yesterday. He sat nearby. She tells herself that she is observant, that she would have recognized anyone. Time passes and Sarah smiles to herself. Laughing? Not Sarah, she doesn't laugh. Yet she feels it. She can't believe this is happening. How can she be like this? The woman is still a girl. A day spent together. A day turned to a week turned to a month. She just found herself telling him it all. Her life unabridged without shame or embarrassment. Her fragile self-confidence should be cringing, no matter how many times she tries. The thought just will not go. The thought is a turmoil before her. It laps within her consciousness like waves. Suddenly, for no reason at all, she lets it flow through her. Cool and refreshing, the pressure releases. She accepts it and lets her trust loose. Could this be it? A shoulder to fall onto. He is her wide ocean, and she stands before him, breathing slowly, calming. Enough! She twirls into life, dancing in her mind. Young and old butterfly, one in the surf. Autumn. Sarah is 28 now. Home was long ago. The path hasn't been walked in a long time, not since she was a little girl. The city suffers her, and she suffers with it. A past far behind, a lifetime ago. Life's choices made for her, not from her own mind. Her daughter knows nothing of the quiet life. Sarah misses it, and longs to return, but fears the place of hideous memory. She tells herself that it is a good place. But this is the day she returns. Her life is her own, and she beats it to her will. She hasn't lost that tenacious streak, she's still the little girl. It is late, and tears sting her eyes as she passes an old house. The memory has faded with time, and time hasn't been kind to the home she left behind. She cannot look. A light flashes across the bay. Her daughter is startled by its strangeness. Sarah says it's a solitary soldier guarding against the darkness. It always was to her. The white cottage stands empty, long abandoned to the sky. No flowers for the morning, mournful visions for the night. Strange to call this home. A place long known, yet never known. A subtle change brings a new perspective, giving a new lease of life to them all. The cottage speaks to Sarah as her daughter explores it all. She sees herself in her daughter and weeps for the lost years. But they are mingled with tears of joy, a homecoming to life anew. The past is behind, a hard life dismissed. Time to start her own life. Dawn catches Sarah walking. She walks the marram path again, though this time she turns, looking to the cherished days past. She sees herself running, a young girl alone. The simple thought returns to her, and she pictures the darkest day. The end of days for the little girl, where the world collapsed into a life ended in despair. Existence lingers. She finds it in herself to join that day to this morning, the past years dismissed. She hardens to the past and feels warm for the future. Out of her reverie, a shout, joyous and free, though seen through her daughter's eyes, that first glimpse of the sea. The wind blows her hair, the sand in her toes, the childish wish arrives, cares cast aside with glee. They dance in the surf, they dance for the sea god himself, she wills herself free. Winter. There, a cottage, glowing white by the sea, built of shells of all kinds by a hand long forgotten. The sun shows the path, long trodden and worn. The shutters are closed. Flowers cast a radiance to the wall. Majestic and homely, the cottage stands tall. A grace never lost, still gentle, now frail. The shutters cast open, and Sarah is there. Breathing in deeply, she smiles to the day. A young man looks over, his kind eyes say it all. From early this morning his work is almost done. The rotting old fishing boat, unrecognisable and new, newly painted and perfect, a pleasure to see. Fresh hands to the tiller, today's the day. After long life sat idle, a proud lease of life. And there, a star in the day, brilliant and blinding, a testimony to the skills of another. A tiller pin, the realisation of an old man's dream. And he is proud and will sail her forever. Set the sail to the setting sun, to the edge of the world and beyond. "Grandma!" a shout from behind, and for a fleeting moment Sarah is there, a vision in the girl running to her. Caught up in her arms as the love explodes, her father laughs from his boat as her mother steps out. Sarah as she should have been all those years ago. Her long days find kindness and let her live for a while, the pain receding before joy and the remembrance of youth, faded beauty revealed by a loving embrace. Husband and wife, standing proud, watch them go. Following the cobbles through the village, they flow to their wish. The headland stands quiet, still as the dawn. No wind to whip the shore, or to ripple the mirror. Blue reflected in blue, reflected in them. They cross a stone bridge over nothing, they walk the marron path, all toes lost in the sand. There, on the beach, Sarah faces the sea. Quiet, peace, she feels the memory suffusing her. Two young girls walk the sand together. Sarah looks and she laughs, she is happy again. Her eyes are closed as she breathes the salty air. Her granddaughter comes to her and holds out her hand. She summons the courage, she takes a deep breath, and taking her hand, she dances again. For the pleasure of Neptune, one very last time.